Assalamu alaikum. I am Ahmed Mohamed, the litigation director for the New York chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, the nation's largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization. And you are watching Care Talk. And of course, once again, I'm broadcasting out of my living room right here in Queens. And this program was created to provide regular updates and resources for the New York Muslim community relating to the COVID-19 crisis. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight and to take this quick moment to go ahead and follow our page, like us, and show your support for the work that we're doing. It's really important that you follow our page because this is where on a nightly basis, we come on here and provide regular updates regarding the resources the community has relating to the COVID-19 crisis. Now tonight is our 10th episode Care Talk, and we have a special guest here with us from Mass, New York. It's the director of the Muslim American Society, PACE, Hussein Rababah. Mr. Rababah, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for being here. Tonight, we're going to discuss the census. As everyone already knows, tonight, or today, I should say, is National Muslim Census Day. And it's really important that as Muslims in New York City and in New York State, that we understand what the census is, why it's important for us to participate, and to make sure that we're counted. And that's why we have Brother Hussein with us today, because we want to talk about why the Muslim community should be participating. Now, Brother Hussein, can you tell us a little bit about what type of work does Mass participate in when it comes to the census?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Mohamed wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Mass actually have few events in regard to the census. And because of the coronavirus, as you know, and everyone else knows, that we cannot have a physical meeting. So we have quite a few conference call meeting to explain to our brothers and sisters in the Muslim community the importance of participating in the 2020 census. We have workshop online, and we had also put so many posts out on social media in order to educate our community and to let them know the importance of 2020 census.
Right, and that's great. So let me just make sure I understand this correctly. Where can the community go to find information about the census relating to Mass? Does Mass have like a Facebook page, a website? How can people get involved?
Actually, we have quite a few Facebook accounts in every boroughs. Beside having another Facebook page for New York Mass chapter, we have in the Queens, we have Ibn Sina Facebook, Mass Ibn Sina Facebook. Any resident of Queens could log into the Facebook and see and follow us on that Facebook page, and he will get all the information. If you are in Brooklyn, you could follow the Mass Youth Center Facebook page or Shipset Bay page. We even have one in Staten Island and Bronx Muslim Centers in the Bronx. And we also have one in Yonkers, Andalusia Islamic Center. You could follow us on one of those 7 sites, and you'll be able to get all the information to participate in the 2020 census.
Well, there you have it, folks. If you're anywhere in New York City and beyond, make sure to go and follow your local Mass center so that you can get updated information regarding the events that they're doing, regarding the census. And of course, if you're listening right now, you're about to get all that information handed to you. And the very first thing I want to talk about is, what is the census and what does the census do? Brother Hussein, can you kind of just tell us a little bit about why is the census important? Why does the Muslim community, why should we be counted?
Well, I think the benefit of having, or participating in the census of 2020, it'll give you actually quite a few benefits if you are a Muslim or non-Muslim. But here we focus on our Muslim community, because that gives you a chance for everyone to be counted. It also gives you a fair share of representation. And it also, the most important things, participating in the census is part of the Constitution of the United States of America. And it's also about redistricting of the area you live in. And I always believe in when you participate, you do your civic duty. And some people in our community, they worry about their privacy. And is there that information get shared? Should they worry about their immigration status? And I just want to assure the Muslim community that your information will not be shared with anyone. And your immigration status have nothing to do with the census. That's why I urge my community to participate in the census of 2020. Because my brother Ahmed, in reality, in order for us to be on the map, I always believe, a way to lead from behind. And the way to lead from behind, I believe, is participate in the census, then register to vote and go out and vote.
Yeah.
Once you do those 3 steps, you allowed your leadership in the Muslim community to demand from our elected official what the Muslim community need and why they should be, or why they should get their fair share of money, of road, of schools, of education, of everything concerning the Muslim community, even the issue facing the Muslim community. Without us participating in those 3 categories, I don't think we will get anywhere.
Look, you touched on really important things. You touched on a lot of important things. Let's go through them one at a time, because I want to make sure that everyone that's listening to this understands how important the census is. Now, first thing I want to say, the census is a once every 10 years process. So if we mess it up this time, we're going to have to wait 10 years until we get it right. We're going to have to live with the repercussions, the consequences of those 10 years. And I'll tell you, in 2010, New York did not do a good job. We did a really bad job when it came to the census, and we lost out on a lot of money to help ourselves. We lost out on votes, on representation. Only 62% of New Yorkers responded to the census, self-responded to the census back in 2010, when all the other states, on average, were up to 76%. That means the other states were taking money away from us that we earned, that we deserve because of our citizens who live here, right? And that means that their vote, their voice in Congress was louder than it should have been, because they were taking away some of our representatives that we could have gotten here. So it's really important that we do the census. And I want to highlight 3 things that you said, and I think that kind of encapsulates the majority of things regarding the census. Number 1, every single year, the federal government gives out about $700 billion, that's billion with a B, to the states. And how do you determine how much money the state of New York gets from that? The census. The more people that we have, the more money we will get every single year, right? Where does that money go? Right, Brother Hussein, where does that money go? It goes to public education, right? Our schools,
yes.
We want better schools, we
yes.
want better teachers, right? There are thousands and thousands of Muslim teachers in the public school system here in New York City. I guarantee you every single one of them wants a better paycheck.
Exactly.
How can the city get more money to pay them better? The census. So help family members by completing the census. You want affordable housing, Section 8 housing. You want more federal assistance, the census. We got to fix our roads. I got to tell you, I live here in Queens. I know where my roads aren't very good. How are your roads? Do you think they need a little extra cash to make them a little smoother?
Of course.
Yeah. And the only way we're going to get more money is if we count. And of course, I know you do a lot of politicking, Brother Hussein. And you know, the census determines how many representatives we have in Congress. And if we don't do our job as New Yorkers to do the census, we're projected to lose 2 seats in Congress, right? What that means is that we're gonna have 2 representatives less, right? That means we may not have an AOC. We may not have somebody who currently represents us right now because their seat might get eliminated. And that means our voice, your voice, counts less. And that's really important. And of course, the third important point that I want to mention, and I think you know this point very, very well, is that politicians, you were making this point, politicians use the census when they're making decisions, right? Where to go, where to send money back to. Emergency services use the census when they make decisions. The city uses the census, right? When the city is thinking about opening a public hospital, they're going to do it where the people live. And if you don't respond to the census, the city is not going to provide services in that area. So and of course, local businesses. I know of businesses here, right, that look into the census to determine where they're going to open their business, right? So if you're ever wondering to yourself, man, how come this amazing restaurant that I love will not open a restaurant in my neighborhood? Or how come this grocery market won't open a store here, right? It's probably because they're looking at the census and they're realizing, well, the customers that we want to reach don't live in that area. So it's important to do the census. Now, the one thing I want to also mention is this. Now, Brother Hussein, let me go back to you. What are some things that are really important to the Muslim community that would be impacted by the census? I know I spoke about a lot of things, but I want to get specific to the Muslim community that mass is servicing on a regular basis.
Well, I just want to make a point before that. Actually, historically, we always been undercounted because of lack of participation from our community. And I want to give you an example, Akhi Ahmed. I was talking to one of the elected officials about an area where Muslim community have about 2,000 registered personnel to vote. But in the election day, only 137 people participate. He told me, Hussein, why do you think I should care? You guys don't even count because the lack of participation from your community. You guys not counted in the decision making because you don't participate. And I believe, you know, and this is where I focus, beside what you said, and you know, money for school, for road, for everything. The Muslim community in New York is about, I think, 1.3 million people. And that's a lot of people. And I remember how excited we were when Ilhan Omar, Sister Ilhan Omar, was elected to become the first Muslim, or the second Muslim elected to the House of Representatives. Why don't we have that in New York? We are capable of having somebody to reach the finish line, but that take from us to participate. This is our duty. I remember when the Prophet Mohamed sent his the Muslim people to Al-Habasha, and he said, they asked him, Prophet Muhammad, why should we go there? He said, his response was, and I'm quoting here, he had that is a just king. Justice. Justice is important. And in order to accomplish that, you have to participate. The United States of America will give you your fair share of everything, in money, in education, and in healthcare, on everything. But you have to participate in census, in registering to vote, and in voting. And in order for us to move our Muslim community ahead, we need our community to participate, because it's our duty. And I believe the new generation, the future generation, like my kids, my grandkids, we owe them this in order for them to have a better future, and inshallah to be in the White House, in the Congress, in the Senate, to be everywhere we want to be. I need them to be judges, district attorneys, city council, state senator. I want to walk into the capital of New York and be proud of meeting a brother named Ahmed. He's a state senator. This is why it's very important for us to participate in the 2020 census.
Absolutely. And inshallah, all those things come to reality, but they're only going to come to reality if we participate. We have to become civically engaged, and we have an opportunity to do it right here. And I got to tell you, the census has never been easier, right? Now, the census has gone virtual. It's come into the 21st century. You don't have to leave your house. I know we're all quarantined. We're all staying at home because of the coronavirus. That's why we're broadcasting out of our living rooms right now. But you don't have to leave your home to do the census, right? All you have to do is get on your computer right now and go to, what is it?
My2020census.gov.
Right?
Yes.
My2020census.gov, and you can start the process. It's a questionnaire that takes about less than 10 minutes. If you're quick like me, I try to get it done in less than 5. I try to make it a competition. If you do that though, make sure it's accurate. Now, you also mentioned a really important thing at the beginning. We had a huge issue about a year or so ago about what type of information is going to go on the census, right? And we fought,
yes.
and we fought, and we won, right? And so anybody out there who's worried about their immigration status, who's worried about, oh, am I going to have to tell the census if I'm a citizen or not? The answer is you don't have to do that, right? Your immigration status, like you said, Brother Hussein, has nothing to do with the census. They're not going to ask you about your immigration status. So whether you're a US citizen, whether you're a documented New Yorker, or whether you're undocumented, right? You need to count. You need to count. So if you have 5 people living with you in your home, doesn't matter how big your house is, how small it is, all 5 individuals need to be counted, right? Anybody who was alive as of April 1st, 2020 counts, and they count as part of your household. So don't worry about immigration, citizenship status. That's not part of the census anymore. I also want to tell you something that you don't have to worry about in the census is income. There are no income questions on the census, right? So you don't have to worry about, oh, do I need to make a certain income or any type of income threshold? And then of course, very important, they don't ask you for your social security as part of the census, right? So there's a lot of fraud going out there on everything, right? Fraudsters try to make money out of anything. So I want to be really clear. If you think you're doing the census and you're putting down your social security number, stop. All right? Stop. Don't submit that document, because I don't think you're doing the census at that point. That's really important, okay? The census is not going to ask you about
something else.
All right? So that's really important.
You haven't coffee in the side road. That's what you do.
Yeah. So just be really careful. So it's really important. All you got to do is go to my2020census.gov. You know what I'm going to do, Brother Hussein? Maybe you can join me is after this, I'm going to go and do the census and record it. And then there's going to be a video that we're going to post online, inshallah, showing you how easy it is to actually do the census. And it's going to be my information. All right.
That will be great. But if you allow me to touch on something we actually forget, census also help the local government to deal with public safety and emergency preparation, even for business, even for home zoning. All this benefit the community, and in regard to the safety, I believe the census of 2020 is one of the safest things you could do online in terms of information. As you said, Ahmed, there is no social security involved. Your immigration status is not involved. And that makes things so easy. Yes, I think in the application, we would love to have, be counted better. But alhamdulillah, I think we accomplished to this point so much from the last 10 years ago, because the question and the form was much different than it is now.
Well, let's talk about the questions. So there are 4 types of questions on the census, right? 4 categories. The first set of questions are going to talk about how many people are living or staying in your home. The second set of categories are going to discuss the sex, the age, the race, and the ethnicity of the individuals in the home. We're going to come back to that topic. And then the third category of questions is whether your home is owned or rented. Those are rented, important because that question determines a lot of policy issues, right?
Yes.
Of course, they need to know your home address so that they know that the individuals in the home have been counted. So let's go back, and you touched upon it about the race ethnicity question. We tried really hard. We fought, and I believe Mass was with us during this fight, about trying to get a Middle East, North African option as part of the race/ethnicity, because we wanted to be counted accurately, right? So what I would tell individuals now is that when you get to the race question, if you don't find your background, your nationality, your ancestry listed, right? Or if you're not comfortable checking off one of the ones that are already on the form, you can click on other, right? So for instance, for me, right, I don't consider myself to be white. I don't get the white privilege, right? So I'm gonna, when I fill out the census, I'm gonna check other, and I'm gonna put Yemeni, because I wanna make sure that at the end of the day, we have a count of how many people of Yemen ancestry live in the United States. That's really important, because we wanna determine how many Muslims, right, live in the United States. You said it's 1.3, it could be a lot more.
Yes.
The census doesn't count us though in those terms. And so we want to make sure that we're trying to get an accurate count as much as possible. So if you're from Pakistan, I encourage you to put other and put Pakistan. If you're from India, other India. If you're from Saudi Arabia, other Saudi Arabia. If you're from Egypt, if you're from South Africa, Senegal, you name it, right? We want you to be counted accurately as much as possible, as long as you're comfortable with it. Brother Hussein, is that something that you are also preaching?
Yes, actually we are preaching that. We believe, to fill up the choice of your race, it's up to the individual. Where do you feel that you fit in, fill that up. We would love to have a column separately, as you said, for Middle Eastern and South African, where it shows each individual background. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. But when it comes to your to the first question of of the race, where this is up to the individual. What do you feel? What race you are in? We advise you to to fill that. But we preaching for you to participate, not to dictate the answer for you.
Yes, absolutely. That is the most important thing. Participate and make sure to fill out the questions, especially when it comes to the race, ethnicity question, to what you're comfortable with and what you want to be recognized as.
Yes.
The most important thing that you can do, though, is complete the census. Do not skip questions. Complete all of them. And one of the most important things that we know is that the information that you submit as part of the census is confidential and it's protected by law and it can't be used against you in any way. That's really important. There is actually a federal statute passed by Congress, right? It's in Title 13 of the United States Federal Code that lists all of the laws. And it was passed after World War II, because during World War II, the information as part of the census was misused to persecute the Japanese American community. And Congress came back after that and said, no, we're never going to allow this to ever happen again. We cannot allow this to happen. And they passed a federal law that made the census information confidential, that it cannot be used outside of the census. So that's really important, that when you're sharing this information, you know that you have the backing of federal law to support the confidentiality of your responses. And I can promise you, if that gets broken, you can bet that CARE New York is going to be on the front lines fighting for you and protecting your information. That's really important. I know you touched upon it earlier, and I wanted to reinforce that because I know that, you know, as a lot of our community members are immigrants. And so, you know, they may be thinking of that probably a lot more than the, you know, average American may be. Now, Brother Hussein, we got a couple of questions. So I'm gonna throw them at you as we have, I think, a few more minutes left here. Number one is, the question is there a religious question in the census? Does the census ask you, what is your religion, for instance?
No, actually, since the census started in 1790 until now, in the history of the United States, there were not ever a question about your religion.
Right, and that's really important. So the census isn't going to ask you about your religion, it's asking you about your race and your ethnicity, right? Now, you know, groups like CARE and others, sometimes we will use nationality because to kind of extrapolate someone's religious identity for our purposes, right? To know how many individuals from each country are here in the United States, for statistical purposes, for research, for deciding what type of programming we're going to do. And so it's important. We use the census as well, just like any other entity, right? And of course, when we're filing for funding or when we're seeking funding, for instance, for grants, we need the census information so that way we can tell foundations, hey, there are X number of people in this area that we are servicing according to the census. And that's really important. That's the go-to source for everybody because it's so comprehensive. So it's important to do that. Now, the other thing I want to ask, and I'll take this one for us, is what is the deadline to complete the census? There's been a lot of confusion because of the coronavirus. Things have gotten, you know, changed somewhat. What I can tell you right now is that the Census Bureau has until the end of the year to complete the census, right? To report back to Congress on what the census count is. For you, for me, what does that mean? That means you have about until August or so to finish the census. In about a month or so, depending on how the coronavirus situation unfolds, in about a month or so, if you have not completed the self-response of the census, if you haven't done the census already, assuming we don't have a stay-at-home order anymore, you may start getting someone knocking on your door, right? They're called enumerators. They're there to say, look.
I think that will come like in mid-May, Ahmed. That's when from what I get in a meeting with the New York State Attorney General, I think if the coronavirus or life get improved, I think that will start in mid-May.
In mid-May. But I'll tell you this, Brother Hussein, I haven't lived in New York for very long. The one thing I have already adopted as a New Yorker, I don't like somebody knocking on my door. All right. So what I will tell you, if you're like me and you don't want someone knocking on your door telling you what to do, right? Because we're independent, we don't like taking directions sometimes. If you don't want that person knocking on your door, do the census.
Exactly.
Now, don't wait until mid-May or June when someone starts knocking on your door telling you, hey, I'm with the census, you need to complete it. You haven't done it yet, right? If you fill out the census today, all you got to do is go to my2020census.gov, really easy. If you do it, they'll get a notification. This address has filled the census already, and you will never get a knock from anybody that works for the census or any organization that is helping out with the outreach.
I want to touch on something you touched briefly, Akhi Ahmed, where you said it's you will never be penalized for even if you make a mistake in the application you fill up or in the form you fill up. Also, even if you feel you made a mistake, by the way, you could, fill the census form again. You will not be penalized. I don't know if they will take the second one, but I'm sure they will count one of those two. So it's very safe even if you make a mistake in that form. And this is the two things I just want to add in that regard.
No, that's an excellent point. And look, what I'll tell everybody is obviously try to be accurate, do your best. If you feel you made a mistake and you need help, if you're worried, if you're anxious, contact us. That's really important, right? We're here to help you. And so if you need help filling out the census, if you have questions, if you feel like you've made a mistake and you're worried and you need to talk to somebody about it, you feel like I got to fix my mistake, call Care New York. We're still open. We're still doing work every single day as if, our operations have not stopped, right? I'm working more hours now, to tell you the truth, Brother Hussein.
Join the club.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, if you're out there, if you're worried, if you have a question, our phone number is 646-665-7599, or you can go to our website, care-ny.org, right? Fill out an incident report. You can email us. I'll give you 2 emails. That's how much I care about you. You can email us at info@ny.care.com. By the way, that's care, C-A-I-R. Or you can email me directly through our legal account if you have a legal question to legal@ny.care.com. We're going to get back to you. We're going to answer your question, inshallah, and we're going to do our best to help you, inshallah. Now, Brother Hussein, my folks are telling me we're out of time here. Do you have any last message that you'd like to send to the community?
I just hope and pray that our community understand that more participation, better result, better benefit to our community.
Go ahead.
And if you really want to be counted, you want to be on the table, then you have to participate. If you want to reach the finish line, this is your opportunity. If you don't want to be counted, stay home and don't participate.
All right, so excellent points. I want to just echo what you said. It's really important. I think for me, for Care New York, it really boils down to this. If you care about our school system, if you care about our healthcare, if you care about your community organizations, if you care about where you live, if you care about your family and your friends and your neighbors, then you got to do the census, right? And you got to convince your friends and your family to do the census. And if you know someone who's refusing to do the census, you need to educate them on why that's important, right? Not only is it money that comes directly back into our communities, but it's our voice. Our voice matters. One of the things that we are extremely fight for all the time is civic engagement, is empowering the American Muslim community. And it's one of the things that you can do right now is empower yourself, empower your community by completing the census. We have to count, right? Do you want Muslims to count, right? And the answer is yes, it has to be. And so if you're ready to do the census, you're home, you're watching this, which means you have internet, all you gotta do, and I'm gonna make this one last time, all you gotta do is go to your browser right now. It's okay. It's okay if you stop watching this to go do your census. Go to your browser and write my2020census.gov and get started. Right?
If you allowed me, I would like to actually repeat that why census is important in Arabic.
Please.
If we have time.
Yes.
There is a few points why أهمية تعداد السكاني في أمريكا مهم جدا، لأنه الجميع يعد، يعطيك تمثيل عادل، إنه الدستور، ذلك يعني إعادة تقسيم الدوائر، بالإضافة إلى المشاركة أو دعوتك للمشاركة في واجبك المدني. يتم استخدام هذه البيانات لمصلحتك. خصوصيتك محافظ عليها. معلوماتك الخاصة لا تذهب لأي شخص آخر غير دائرة الإحصاءات العامة. وكذلك ما يعطي هذه السنة من التعداد السكاني سهولته وسهولة تعبئة النموذج العائد للتعداد السكاني. نحن هنا Muslim American Society and Care New York موجودين لمساعدتك، سواء عن طريق الفيسبوك، عن طريق التليفون، عن طريق الويب سايت. نحن هنا في خدمة الجالية العربية والإسلامية، وجزاكم الله خيرا.
Thank you so much, brother, for that. Let me just close us out by first thanking you for taking the time to come here and provide this important information for us. So thank you so much for that. May Allah reward you for your time and your efforts, for everything that you do for the community. May Allah keep you safe, and may you be practicing social distancing, staying home, and may everyone who's watching us be safe, and inshallah working together, that we're going to be able to beat back at this coronavirus, that we'll be able to see each other in person very, very soon. Jazakallah khair for coming on the show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.